When you hear the word pistachio, your brain probably does the same thing it always does. It shrugs. You picture a small green nut, half hidden in a beige shell, something you snack on without thinking while watching a movie or passing a bowl around a table. It feels familiar. Ordinary. Almost forgettable. But here's the strange part. The moment you slow down and ask one simple question, the entire story cracks open. What exactly is a pistachio? Not what do we call it, but what is it really? Because the truth is, this tiny green snack has been misunderstood for thousands of years, mislabeled, misplaced, and quietly hiding one of the longest and most surprising histories of any food we casually eat today. And once you see it clearly, it becomes impossible to look at a pistachio the same way again. Most people assume pistachios are nuts. We buy them in the nut aisle. We eat them like nuts. We talk about them like nuts. But botanically speaking, pistachios are not nuts at all. They belong to a completely different category. Pistachios are what botanists call drupes. That single word quietly rewrites everything you think you know. A drupe is a fruit with an outer flesh and a hard inner shell that protects a seed. Cherries are drupes. Peaches are drupes. Olives are drupes. And so is the pistachio. The green part you eat isn't the fruit itself. It's the seed inside the fruit. The fleshy outer layer is removed during harvesting, leaving behind the hard shell and the seed within. That famous split shell, the one that feels so perfectly designed for snacking, isn't created by machines or processing tricks. It happens naturally as the pistachio ripens on the tree. When the seed inside grows large enough, it pushes the shell apart. A naturally cracked snack, ready before humans ever touched it. This small detail alone explains why pistachios have fascinated people for so long. Nature did part of the work for us. Unlike many foods that require heavy processing just to become edible, pistachios practically announce their readiness. They open themselves. That simple, almost poetic behavior is one reason pistachios stood out in ancient times, long before agriculture became industrial or efficient. But the real story goes far deeper than classification or convenience. To understand pistachios, you have to travel backward. Far backward. Pistachios are among the oldest cultivated foods in human history. Archaeological evidence suggests humans were eating pistachios over 7,000 years ago. Long before supermarkets, before written recipes, before coins, before recorded empires. Their natural home stretches across what is now Iran, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, and parts of Central Asia. These regions are defined by extremes. Blazing hot summers. Cold winters. Dry air. Sparse rainfall. Harsh landscapes where many crops fail. Pistachio trees, however, thrive there. They are survivors. Their roots grow deep. Their trunks twist and harden. They tolerate drought. They endure heat. They even require cold winters to trigger proper flowering. In a way, pistachios are shaped by struggle. They don't flourish in comfort. They flourish at the edge. Because of this resilience, pistachios became valuable early on. Not just as food, but as symbols. In ancient cultures, pistachios were associated with health, strength, and prosperity. They were dense in energy, rich in oils, and capable of lasting long periods without spoiling when dried. Perfect for travelers. Perfect for traders. Perfect for elites who wanted foods that felt rare and powerful. Legends grew around them. One famous story claims that the Queen of Sheba declared pistachios a royal food, reserved only for the elite. Whether fully true or not, the legend itself tells you something important. Pistachios were never seen as ordinary. They were special. As civilizations expanded, pistachios traveled with them. They moved west into the Mediterranean and east along the Silk Road. Alongside spices, silk, gemstones, and precious metals, pistachios became a traded good. Light to carry. High in value. Resistant to spoilage. Ancient Romans encountered pistachios through their eastern campaigns and trade routes. They were introduced into Roman society as exotic delicacies, associated with wealth and sophistication. From there, pistachios slowly spread into parts of Europe, though they remained rare and expensive for centuries. They weren't everyday food. They were celebration food. Part of what kept pistachios rare was patience. Pistachio trees demand it. When you plant a pistachio tree, you're not planting for yourself. You're planting for the future. It can take 7 to 10 years before a pistachio tree produces a meaningful harvest. Even then, pistachio trees don't behave like obedient crops. They produce heavily one year, then rest the next. This pattern, called alternate bearing, means farmers can't rely on consistent annual yields. On top of that, pistachio trees are either male or female. You need both. And they don't rely on bees or insects. They rely on wind. A poorly timed wind season can reduce yields dramatically. Every pistachio harvest is a gamble shaped by weather, time, and biology. Once harvested, pistachios must be processed quickly. The outer hull is removed to prevent staining and spoilage. Then the nuts are dried, often in the sun or controlled environments, to preserve them. Roasting enhances flavor and aroma, transforming a mild seed into something rich, buttery, and unmistakable. Yet even through roasting, pistachios retain something unusual. Their color. That distinctive green interior isn't cosmetic. It isn't added. It comes from natural pigments, mainly chlorophyll and lutein. Most seeds lose chlorophyll as they mature. Pistachios don't. They hold onto it. The greener the pistachio, the fresher and higher quality it's often considered to be. This vibrant green made pistachios visually valuable long before artificial food coloring existed. That's why pistachios became a staple in desserts across the Middle East, Mediterranean, and South Asia. Baklava layered with green dust. Pastes blended into creams. Milk-based sweets dotted with slivers of green. Pistachios didn't just taste special. They looked special. Despite their long presence in Europe and Asia, pistachios remained relatively uncommon in the United States until the 20th century. Early attempts to grow pistachios failed because farmers didn't fully understand the tree's needs. It wasn't until cultivation moved to California, with its hot summers, dry air, and cooler winters, that pistachios found a second home. Even then, success took decades. Selective breeding improved yields. Farming techniques became more precise. Infrastructure developed to process and distribute them efficiently. Slowly, pistachios shifted from luxury import to domestic crop. Today, the United States stands alongside Iran and Turkey as one of the world's largest pistachio producers. What was once reserved for royalty and merchants now sits in vending machines, lunchboxes, and airline snack packs. Yet something about pistachios still resists full ordinariness. They're not flashy. They're not cheap filler. They're still associated with quality. With restraint. With quiet indulgence. Across cultures, pistachios continue to wear different identities. In Middle Eastern cuisine, they appear in savory rice dishes, ground into sauces, sprinkled over meats. In South Asia, they blend into sweets, drinks, and festive desserts. In the West, they dominate snack bowls, cookies, cakes, and ice cream. Yet everywhere, they retain a subtle reputation. They're never junk food. They're never fully luxury. They live in between. Accessible, but elevated. So what exactly is a pistachio? It's not a nut in the way we casually use the word. It's a seed, born inside a fruit, shaped by desert climates and ancient trade routes. It's a food that demands patience from the people who grow it and restraint from the people who eat it. It's something humans have valued across thousands of years, across empires that rose and fell, across borders that no longer exist. The next time you crack open a pistachio shell, pause for a second. That tiny snap is the sound of time. Of biology doing its work. Of history condensed into something small enough to hold between your fingers. A simple snack that carries deserts, caravans, royal tables, and centuries of human hands before it ever reached yours. And that's what makes pistachios more than just food. They're a reminder that even the most ordinary things are rarely ordinary at all. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, share them in the comments below and we'll be sure to acknowledge your contribution. And if you enjoyed this journey through one of life's smallest but most fascinating details, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories.